Greetings and welcome back to Drassier TMD. My name is Drassier.
I'm Michelle.
And you're watching realMyst Bonus Edition. I mean, not really bonus edition, it's just us doing a bonus episode of the playthrough. Yeah. So, we are going to be literally just going through the lore today, so if you're not interested in reading any of the backstory stuff, go ahead and skip this video, that's up to you. But if you do want to hear any of the lore and our conjecture of it as we go through it, then stick around because we're going to be going through it in detail. So let's just dive right in. Now, if I remember correctly, no, that's a burnt book.
No.
Nope. Here, let me drive.
No,
I'm driving.
No, because I'm reading.
I'm driving. Okay, so we already did Channelwood, right? That's the one we read before?
We did Channelwood.
The first book we read?
We did Channelwood.
Okay. So in which case, should we go straight to the Stone Age after that?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's the Stone Ship Age.
Sorry, the Stone Ship Age. Here we go. Oh.
Nice. Okay. And I'll be doing the reading.
Okay, so do you want to just click the buttons then?
That was my plan.
Just don't hit the microphone. No.
Emmett.
Clara!
Emmett was the first to live on the rocks. He named them the rocks, because that is what they were.
Mm-hmm.
A group of sharp rocks clustered together in the middle of a large sea. This was where Emmett lived. He enjoyed his life. Emmett would occasionally swim to nearby rocks, as it was never too far of a distance. One day, another person appeared on the rocks, for no apparent reason to Emmett. Emmett named this new person Branch. Emmett and Branch quickly became friends, swimming and hunting for fish together often. Emmett showed Branch the simple cave in which he lived on the largest rock. Soon, Branch discovered a place where he decided to live, also on the same large rock. The sun always shone brightly in their world, and the water was always dazzlingly clear, allowing them to see almost to the deep ocean floor which surrounded them. Though the sun always shone, it was never too hot for the boys. A light breeze always came from the north and cooled the area down. One day, while Branch was swimming and having fun in the water, he noticed another boy swimming. Branch brought the new boy to Emmett to find out what to call the new boy. Emmett said the boy should be called Will. Will was soon a part of the group, and all three of the boys swam and enjoyed their perfect world. At least, that is the story I was told when I arrived today on the island. Emmett, Branch, and Will were surprised to see me at first, but even before the night ended, we were all becoming good friends. Today, the second day on this newly created age, a strange thing happened. It was not strange to me, but the three boys did not understand what was happening. While I was relaxing under a large tree, on one of the smaller rock islands, it began to rain. It was a nice rain that lasted for about an hour in the morning. I explained to the boys that the rain was not harmful, yet they obviously still feared it. Before going to sleep tonight, I told the boys I would leave the following day. I told them that while I was gone, I would make a surprising change in their world. They didn't understand, not that I expected them to. I still do not fully understand what happened today. I was experimenting with the art, testing the limits of the rules as dictated to me by Father. I attempted to create a boat by riding it into the world. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat had become gripped by the rock and broken in half. Although this test did not turn out as I had hoped, I now have answers to a few of the questions my father never answered. As for the boat, I can see the boys enjoy it anyway, and with that I am pleased. They have played on it all day. Even though the boat cannot move, I have enjoyed studying from it. It is a much sturdier platform than the jagged rocks. In the course of my observations, I have learned some very interesting things regarding the solar system of this age. The nights are absolutely beautiful here. I have made note of and named a number of constellations that pass above me. Also, during the night, I catch glimmers of light from the horizon which I've not been able to discover if it is created by some natural phenomenon or by additional people on far-off islands or rocks. I should very much like to discover which. I rather suspect it is additional people, which would explain the appearance of Branch and Will. The rain today was slightly heavier than usual. Just when the boys were getting used to the light rains, a small storm arrived. They were frightened of the heavier rain, not to mention the thunder and lightning. If rain has never fallen here until recently, as the boys tell me, I would like to discover why it is falling now. Regardless, I have decided to return home for a short while. I've also been thinking of some plans for a lighthouse that I hope to construct soon. I think that perhaps by shining a bright light toward the horizon, it might prove my suspicions regarding additional inhabitants. They would be curious about the light and travel to discover its source, if they have the means. I returned with many tools that I will need for construction of the lighthouse. I've decided that once the lighthouse is completed, I will leave for some time and let the world's own imagination have control. We have worked 3 weeks on the lighthouse now and are making great progress. The rock that we are building on seems not to be as secure as I would like. I have had to alter my plans slightly, but those alterations pose no real problem. The boys are quite strong and have been helping me immensely. I estimate construction will be done within 2 days. The lighthouse is finished, and we are all proud of our creation. The boys are amazed at the structure wrought from rock with their own hands. That evening we powered up the generator, much to the boys' dread at first, and shined a great light to the horizon for many hours. I stayed the night in the top of the lighthouse, and in the morning awoke to observe the sunrise without my being coated with the chilly blanket of ocean dew I had become accustomed to. It was Will who first saw the girl. She was swimming not far from the boat where Will was getting ready to hunt for fish. Then Will noticed a man not far away from the girl. Emmett was very pleased to meet the additional neighbors. I feel pleased to leave this age. I have set in motion events that have nothing to do with writing or the art, that will have more profound impact on this world than I could have ever written. I think of this age as a gift to myself, that I will wrap up and open someday in the future, only to discover that it has changed so much that indeed it is a surprise. Besides, I have yet another new age that awaits me. It seems I'm going to need some way to travel underwater in this new age, and so much planning is in order. It has been 10 years since I left this age, which I have since called the Stone Ship Age. Upon returning, I cannot believe the changes that have taken place. The original 3 boys have grown into adults, and there are many new faces that I do not recognize. Branch told me that it had not rained for 7 years, and the cool breezes are back again. They are all very content, and have been serving me with new foods, and showing me new materials they have discovered. It even seems they have found gold somewhere. I see it in many forms around the island. My lighthouse has been kept in perfect condition, and it looks as if they tried their very best to keep it so. Yet, I have noted that the entire rock it was built on has sunk approximately 40 or 50 centimeters. After a wonderful visit with my old friends, I wonder aloud with them what things will be like here in another 10 years.
And that, of course, is where we got the constellations from as well.
Yep.
So that's something that I don't think we've heard before. He talks of the art.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he says it, it sounds like he somehow imagined this world into existence, this age into existence, by writing, but that he mentioned writing as a separate thing to the art, so I don't know exactly what it is he's doing, unless it's a combination of that and something else. So, if this is still Atris, then he apparently somehow generated the Stone Ship Age. Possibly others, possibly all of them, using the art. It's just kind of interesting. Nothing else particularly jumped out at me so far. He has a fairly... He's got an optimism that I don't share. I tend to be much more cynical and wary. I wouldn't build a lighthouse to attract other people. I would be cautious of others until I had searched other people out to see what was going on. But he apparently is happy to, send up a flare and say, "Hey, come check it out. We've got this island and a lighthouse and stuff." So that's kind of interesting in by itself. But yeah, the only thing that stood out to me so far has been that the implication that this world was created by him using the art. I don't remember anything else off the top of my head.
Right. It has been a while since I have heard only silence, and I enjoy it greatly, I think. For some reason, I do not feel altogether welcome in this new world in which I have arrived. But how could I be unwelcome in an age with no inhabitants? It is, of course, only in my head. This world is very beautiful, but I think I have yet to ever write in a journal that an age I have linked to is horrid or disgusting. From the grassy hill where I am standing, I see green fields below, along with a few scattered forests. A rather large lake looms some distance from where I am standing, yet the water's blue can be seen plainly from here. The air is fresh, and the sky is sparkled with white clouds. It is absolutely breathtaking, and yet, that strange feeling again. Perhaps it is the hot breeze that continues to blow from the north. Hotter than I would have imagined. It almost singes my skin, and I feel quite uncomfortable when it comes. I will try to ignore it. Night has almost arrived, and the sunset is spectacular. Oranges and reds have settled above the western horizon. Though night has come, the horizon still glows red long past the sunset. Dark red flows from the horizon and blend into the black sky. Dark reds flow from the horizon and blend into the black sky. Again, the feeling, and I am beginning to believe it is not all in my mind. I must sleep now. I will need my strength to explore more tomorrow. I have had to return home due to an unpredictable natural occurrence, more frightening than I have ever experienced. I was awakened by terrible shakings in the ground and explosions on all sides of me. Gigantic balls of fire were falling from the sky, and I immediately left in fear of my life.
Volcano.
I must remember to bring a Myst linking book with me when I return in case the one left there has been damaged or destroyed. I have returned to a different world than the one I left only 3 months ago. It has been transformed into a barren desert land, with only gigantic craters scattered across the land to provide variety. Strangely enough, the small grassy hill where I spent my first night remains exactly the way I found it. Apparently the falling meteors did not hit this area, leaving an oasis in the midst of this horrible desolation. The hot wind, I remember, has turned into a rather pleasant breeze, which is at least one improvement. I fear it is the only improvement. The magnificent lake I saw on my first visit is now completely dried up. However, another lake now exists and appears to be quite a bit larger. I assume one of the falling meteors created this lake due to its circular shape and the jutting rock that grows out of the center of the lake. The rest of this world seems like desert, although I will verify that statement with closer inspection. Though this world has little visual excitement to offer, it offers much to the ears. Sounds constantly flow through my ears, and I have found where a few of them originate. It seems, as Catherine says, I do find beauty in everything. Last night I was awakened by a horrible hissing. I was sweating, and the heat was so intense that I immediately dipped my head in a nearby stream to cool it down. The hot breezes had returned, along with a low roar from the ground. I walked a short distance to observe some red flames shooting up from the earth. Suddenly the ground began to crack and a huge chasm opened.
Oh. The chasm?
The chasm continued to grow until it was far too wide to cross. Then the tumult subsided, leaving only a dull roar.
Tumult or tumult?
Whatever. I have decided, however, I can use the chasm to my advantage. Perhaps the heat from the chasm can be harnessed. Even as the chasm has ripped into the surface of this world, it has opened up a whole new world to explore. Although uncomfortably hot, I found it possible to reach a cave in the chasm that had been created, and have now explored deep into the crust of this planet. I have found a vast underground cave system that will take many years to map and explore. I will also look for a safer way to reach the underground than through the chasm wall. This age seems to change on its own, so I feel I should leave again and see if things are different when I return. It is also important that I check on Cirrus and Achenar and make sure everything is going along well. When I return, I also hope to bring back some tools I will need for my plans to explore the underground. The abundance of raw materials here is beginning to amaze me. I have returned with some of the complex tools I knew I would be needing. I assumed I would have to return for more basic materials, however. It seems as though I will be able to find everything I need here. Of course, iron is abundant, but I've also found titanium occurring naturally. I am all the more excited to begin work. Everything is set, and I look forward to tomorrow. My raw materials are all here. I think I'll be able to have most of my additions to this age completed within 1 year. I still love working with my hands, whether riding or building. I began today on the bridge and... Although...
Something.
The magnetic
idea will work well, and I have decided to...
3 meters is not enough support for the beams. Although... Somewhat.
Something.
So we've got a sound thing here, and amazingly strong.
It's probably the titanium.
Right. Has to be one of my most prized inventions. I am could never have imagined it to come together quite as... I doubt. Could possibly work with 14 instead of 8. Completely fatigued. I'm so happy to have completed tomorrow. I am leaving today in order to bring back Cirrus and Achenar. I have left them alone in Channelwood. I believe they will enjoy all there is to see here. The age seems to have stabilized. I believe the meteor set off a period of volcanic activity by piercing into the shallow crust, but the tremors have become few. I have just noticed that a large amount of this journal has curiously vanished from the pages on which I wrote over the last 18 months.
Interesting.
Fortunately, I have copied many of my construction notes in another journal. I do not understand the many mysteries of this world, but I trust I will discover logical answers to my questions. I have a feeling that many of my questions can be answered in another age, to which I hope to travel soon. But for now, I must simply accept this world's mysteries and take pride in my accomplishments. So here's what we can expect when we get there.
Interesting. So that one, I didn't notice much more than just the description of the various calamities that seem to be going on.
Mm-hmm. There was a hint of, I might find answers to this one in another age, which we've already got. You'll find out when we need it.
Oh, I see.
I didn't catch that the first time.
I see. So yeah, it's one of those things where you definitely should read the books before you go anywhere. Because I would have just blundered in and not known. And
it's possible because I did figure it out.
Well, yeah, but
it just took a lot longer than it needed.
It makes sense, though, to get as much information as you can because that will help in the process of figuring things out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will let you read the next one, which is Mechanical Age, which we've been to.
Oh, that's the one we already done.
But we didn't read the actual book on it first.
Before arriving in this age, I was determined that it would be a journey to a world very different from my previous adventures, and it was. The sky here is dark and grey, and incessantly displays flashes of lightning in the distance. I met a very old man with a long beard and hair that hangs to his waist. Dumbledore.
This was pre-Dumbledore.
I'm not accusing Cyan of
everyone
plagiarizing.
Is copying Cyan.
No.
Yeah.
That's not the point at all. I'm just it's just a reference to something that it made me think of. That was it. Anyway. Long beard, racer. He is very feeble and has a totter even moving.
That's right.
Excuse me, trouble even moving, which probably doesn't mean he totters.
Yeah.
It's a very British word, totter.
Yeah, it is.
This man has obviously been through very many things in this strange world, and I have learned many things from him. He has told me an interesting story of this world's history. Years ago, he told me, there was a beautiful city that rose up out of the water. It housed many people inside its walls, and the people had everything they wished for. The city was surrounded by 3 high hills, which rose higher than the city. On the east hill of the city rested a large lookout post. The people of the city had constructed the post expecting visitors to arrive from the east. The people had no means of travelling on the water, which forced them to merely wait for friend or foe. As time passed, friendly visitors brought rumours of an enemy that existed beyond the horizon. The people grew fearful, yet nothing happened. One day the usually sunny sky became as dark as night, and black ships appeared on the horizon. The lookout post's attempts at peace were turned away, and the sentries were easily overwhelmed. The ships continued to wreak havoc on the city, apparently destroying everyone and everything. After the foundations of the city were destroyed, the city sunk deep into the ocean, and only the lookout post remained. The black ships sailed away. The man continued to say that 8 people had hidden and managed to survive through the attack. In the 9 years since the attack, 2 of the survivors had died. He also said that it was rumoured that 10 years from the attack, the enemy would return to finish the destruction they had started so long ago. I have decided, since hearing the man's story, it would be admirable, to save this civilization and stop this enemy's plans of destruction. I am excited about the adventure that awaits me, and an idea has sparked in my mind to provide the needed defence for these people. Oops, sorry. I met the remaining survivors today and have begun work on a plan for protection. Okay, so yeah. After a short absence, I have returned to this age with my 2 sons. They have, as of yet, travelled rarely with me, and they are understandably excited to be here. They have grown considerably since Everdunes, and it is already obvious to me that they will be a great help this time, instead of the nuisance they had been in the past. All 3 of us, along with 4 of the healthier survivors, began construction today. We are building upon the old city's ruins, which will provide a perfect foundation for our fortress. My sons have been spending much of their spare time on the South Island, where most of my materials are stored. I am very pleased with their intelligence, and their creativity is refreshing to see, as they work on some small projects of their own. It has been over 4 months now, and construction is going well. My sons love the world except for its grey sky. They detest the grey sky, and tell me many times they wish the sky here were like the blue sky in Myst. The old man I first talked to tells me that the enemy is due in 4 months. I feel we will be ready when the time comes. The man reminds me of Emmett in many ways, and I often wonder how Emmett and his people are doing. It has been 6 months of work, and we have finally finished the fortress. It rests between the 3 hills, which are now only islands due to a rising water level that the people experienced after the attack. Inside the fortress I have designed a most intriguing device. It makes use of a technology called holography. I began experimenting with on my visits to Aspermere. It will be working in a couple of days after I compensate for some small miscalculations. Compensating is a very Star Trek thing to do. Or at least attempting to compensate. That's what they do a lot. And the inertial dampeners are always offline. This holographic device will enable the survivors to learn to use the fortress. Sorry, just looking at the diagram. The enemy is due to come soon, and I trust the fortress will provide sufficient protection for us all, for all of us. Okay, so it's just a better look at the world. The black ships have come. Their attack was substantial. Their weapons have been stopped, and it appears that they have turned away in defeat. I could not help but smile as I watched the boats leave. Insignia of the black ship. It's like a knife and a moon. Last night we had a small celebration, and the old survivors danced their dances of old. My sons did not understand why the sky had not turned back to its original blue. The old man told them that the storms would never end until the enemy was destroyed. I assured my sons that the blue sky was not worth the risk of death, and they seemed to hear me. I have had a healthy adventure and have begun work on a new book. Once again, I must leave a familiar age in search of a new universe. I have begun. But first I will have to extend time with Catherine, whom I miss very much. I must also return to the people of the tide. I believe in my travels I have found a substance that will ease the pain of their bone ailments that they have long endured. I hope to return to the mechanical age one day and find the population growing and my fortress still strong. Although the sky may always be black, I am confident the people here feel a heavier darkness has been lifted from their shoulders. Interesting. Alright, and finally.
Rime, I have named it. A desolate age with a beauty that is quite different than I had expected or imagined. The intricate feathers of ice that fall from the sky are awe-inspiring. I feel as though I could sit and watch them for hours. And though it is cold here, like I've never experienced before, I find myself enjoying the change of temperature, for it is unlike any other place I've ever seen. Perhaps the oddest thing is the silence. Although the wind blows on occasion, when it ceases, there is a suffocating silence that falls on this place, broken only by the distant cries of unseen creatures. I have visited 3 times, and am sure now that this age will provide the environment I need. I believe the cold temperature is necessary for obtaining the correct resonance. Examining the structure of the books is ever more perplexing, but I am driven onward by my need to understand. The great tree of possibilities can never be fully grasped, but I must at least try to find one particular branch. On the subject of enlightenment, I would also like to find the cause of the mysterious lights that shine in the darkness here. Though I never assumed that I would be able to build especially fast here, the speed at which I am progressing is somewhat disappointing. I do think I will bring Cirrus and Achenar as well as some of the machinery from Selenitic. Achenar chose to stay with Catherine, but Cirrus was rather excited to come. He has spent the last few days here with me, helping me with the beginning phases of construction. He too seems to enjoy the ice and cold weather. He is intrigued with the crystals that we have brought with us. He has been a big help, as have others, and I hope to be able to begin my experiments here soon. Tonight Cirrus and I found a wondrous spot to view the lights, although it seems they decided to hide from us. After sitting in the cold winds for over 2 hours, we saw nothing. It was rather disappointing. Cirrus will return to Myst tomorrow. He has been a tremendous aid to me, and I'm thankful for his willingness to help. The hard part of the construction is over. Although I have decided after tonight that I would like to add some kind of observation post. I won't be finished as soon as I had hoped, although I'm fairly certain it will be worth the delay in the long run. I have decided to take a break from the construction, now that the tunnel is almost complete, and I have been able to set up a temporary space where the crystals will not be stimulated. I'm quite convinced that with the right diffraction resonance, certain properties of the ink can be simulated. Catherine still finds it absurd and thinks I'm crazy to assume I'll be able to view ages with stones, but her unusual pessimism has not convinced me to stop trying. I came too close to success on Everdunes. I'm fairly certain now that temperature indeed does have an effect on the crystals, but I have realized that temperature alone is not enough. The cold dampens some of the sympathetic harmonics, but a more active suppressor is necessary. I've acquired some geodes with a pure, protected crystalline interior. Thin slices of the geodes below each crystal provided a stabilizing effect, and even amplified the clean frequency slightly. After quite a bit of experimentation with the shapes and colors, I was able to capture a blurry image within a book. Though the ink will never work, there was clearly an age on the other side. I can hardly wait to return and tell Catherine. I feel like I should finish the shaft to my observation post while I have the machinery here, perhaps tomorrow morning. The lights were beautiful again last night. They had not shown themselves for so long that I'd almost forgotten their beauty. I still must find the cause. I'm feeling rather overwhelmed with what remains to be done. The crystals have not been perfected, the shaft is not finished, nor is the observation post or even lab. I have not seen Catherine for some time, and I long to spend more time with Akinar and Cirrus. Besides all of that, there are, far away, in the back of my mind, the thoughts of my people in our lost city. I dreamt again of them last night. I have only seen the city in its worst condition, and still its beauty overwhelmed me. Even now, as I visualize how majestic it must have been before the destruction caused by Viovis and Agaris, it amazes and saddens me. I'm fairly certain that Dunny is not as dead as my father believed. I'm convinced that there must be some who managed to escape the destruction, and even now continue to survive in separate ages. Within me is an urging to take the chance and return to Dunny to find these survivors, and properly rebuild our city. However, I can do nothing until I am certain of the fate of my father. If my plan failed, if I missed a single book when attempting to trap him on Riven, then he's been free all along. If that is true, then all that stands between him and the ages I have now written is the link from Dunny to Myst. As much as I wish to return to Dunny, without knowing the state of my father, I cannot risk re-establishing that link. I must observe my father without re-establishing that link. It has taken several years, and there have been many dead ends, but I have partially succeeded. Now that I have managed to view another age using the crystals, it's only a matter of time until I view Riven. At least, I hope. Catherine will have her ideas about all of these things, and I miss her greatly. I'll return to Rhyme later when my mind has cleared.
Right, and that's the only 5 books that are in this library, right? All the other ones are burned. Here. Yeah, all the others look damaged.
What about that one?
This one?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No.
The Rhyme Age, incidentally,
This one?
was added to realMyst. It was not part of the original game.
Oh, to tie Riven and Myst together?
No.
Because Riven's the
it was just
sequel, right?
an extra age they threw in there as a special little treat.
Oh, huh.
But I still think we need to check the books.
The actual books?
We need to look and find another book in there somewhere, I think.
In here?
I think, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll do that real quick and see if we can find something. We'll let you know if something comes up. Ooh, this is different. Aha!
There we go. That's what I was looking for.
Whoa.
I knew there was one of these.
What's this all about then?
Does it spark anything for you at the moment? If it doesn't, that's okay. We'll figure it out when the time comes. So if we can do it right now. But.
Well, it makes me wonder if it's a number system. If each of these patterns represents the number that's attached to it. That's my first thought.
That's a complicated numbering system.
Yes, but it's not necessarily something that's supposed to be easy to figure out. Goodness, this goes on
Yeah, I don't know how many are in there.
up 300.
300, okay.
Okay, so that was the book at the end here. Apparently there was something else to be found. I am going to go ahead and check the rest of them, just to be safe. But, yeah, who knows. Alright, I think that's everything in the library. So that's all the lore caught up that we know of for the minute. We'll go ahead and leave it there. This is obviously just a bonus episode. We're not going to be progressing the story anymore until episode 5, which will come out next Wednesday as normal. This is just an extra episode, so that's pretty much it. Is that everything?
Yep. And I can't discuss the lore too much with you because
that's fine.
No,
don't give anything else. That's fine. It's fine. I mean, don't give anything away if you know something.
Books.
That's fine. Yeah.
Information.
In which case, if you enjoyed the episode, lore heavy as it was, please go ahead, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You all have a good one, and we'll see you on the other side.